I should probably change. I mean, I have a coat, but I should have a tie if I'm going to go to church. But I guess I'm supposed to be at home this week. Huh. Confusion. Church is the third studio album released by Galantis. Yeah, this one's interesting. Guys, I've been reviewing a lot of EDM-oriented albums recently. Again, I think. But I am excited to be able to review this because I'm very interested to share my process and thoughts on how I came to the opinion of this album. Firstly, this cover is engaging. People need to figure out a way to get their albums out there a little bit more sometimes. Sometimes subtle things are okay. But for an album like this, I'm just like, okay, this looks interesting. I must listen to it. And that's exactly what happened. So what do we get? We get an album that I can't tell if it's trying to be a throwback or if it's trying to be modern with the idea of being a throwback. Essentially, this album feels like it should have been put out 10 or 15 years ago, just based on the production itself. Now, I do need to preface how I feel about that because a lot of people will say like, oh, that was from like 3 years ago, so therefore it's not good anymore. That is a silly excuse. Timeless music never gets old. There are some things that go out. Some people think disco is out. I don't. Disco wasn't that bad, guys. Come on. But there are some things that gradually evolve with the times. And this is one of those albums where I am a little perplexed because it's a production sound that I don't dislike at all. But it does kind of have something that wants to creep up on it that makes it think that it wants to be dated. That's more of an acknowledgement rather than a strike against it. That's just something I felt like I had to mention because the first time I listened to this album, I don't remember that at all. And then the second time I listened to it, I'm like, wait, this came out this year, right? So I think that's going to stir some people away. I don't think a lot, but I think some, because they're going to think that this isn't a 2020 album. They're going to think this is a 2005 album or something like that. Now that I've mentioned that part of the album, I should talk about some of the songs. There's a lot of songs in here that I do like, but there are also a lot of songs in here that feel, as Fred from Harry Potter would say, holy. It's not that these songs feel necessarily incomplete, like it's so obvious. But for those of you who have a keen ear, I think that you're going to notice maybe there could have been something added in this song. Almost every song in here, I feel, could have added something additional to it. Whether that was lyrics, whether that was another instrument, whether that was an additional beat, it could have been tons of things. I wouldn't say too many of these songs have actual issues that I dislike, but there are a few. The most obvious answer being Bleep, Tomorrow Now. Yeah. The song I Found You that has Passion Pit in it, I didn't latch onto that song very well. And the song Hurricane with John Newman, I need to see if I can find a song that I actually like John Newman's vocals in. I'm sure there must be, but with that and Calvin Harris's Blame It on the Night, I just feel like his vocals need to be either in an incredibly specific genre or they need to be adjusted in some capacity. I'm not sure, and I'm not trying to hate. I'm just saying I don't think we've found exactly where his vocals actually fit. But maybe I haven't been exposed to them as much as I should have. So maybe it's on me a little bit. Please let me know what you think about that. Now, in this moment, I guess I'm going to mention kind of the songs little by little as they gradually get better, because there are some songs in here that I do like, although there are some problems still with the songs that I do like. That's okay. There can be that. I just don't normally talk about that, I think. The song Bones with One Republic, that one is perfectly enjoyable. Not stupendous in any way, but perfectly enjoyable because, I mean, come on, Ryan Tedder's vocals, yeah, it works out. The song Feel Something, I got some enjoyment out of that song. Then the next two songs I'm going to mention kind of have that description of something being missing, but you like them nonetheless. The first one being Stella. It's like a background party jam kind of song. And the second, Bonfire. But thank heavens there's one song in here that I think, you know what, that's the winner. Yeah, that one. Being Faith with Mr. Probs and featuring Dolly Parton. That was kind of a brain blast right there. Yeah, Dolly Parton. Dolly Parton. It added really well to the song. I can't describe exactly how, but it complements it. But she gave the performance that she needed in this song. It wasn't overly country. It just added the subtle kind of sound that you're just like, wait, I think this is Dolly Parton in this song. And I won't forget Mr. Probs' portion in this song. He does start it out, and then they kind of fuse together in their vocals. It actually blends pretty well together, I must say. So to try to wrap up my thoughts on this, there are songs that can be enjoyed in this album. And upon first impression, there's plenty to like in here. But I personally have a hard time letting go of so much of this void space that could have been taken up by more ideas. I don't know what that was caused by. I don't know what problem you can point to that says, this is the reason you're feeling this way, Garrett. Whatever the reason being, that complementing with the idea that this is a sound that is unfortunately feeling like it's bordering on being that outdated, as I mentioned before, that kind of makes me feel sad. It doesn't mean it needs to be. Maybe it's timeless for you, but that might be a feeling or idea in the minority. Timeless kind of brings everything else together. So when I rate this album, I want to emphasize that this might be better for a lot of other audiences, and it might be better upon a first impression. Or it could be the complete opposite of what my experience is. I'm not sure. But I have to rate it the way that I feel, and the way I feel because of the second time around, how I'm going to recommend it. So just prefacing it right off the bat right there. So after having listened and reviewed this album with production of 82%, creativity 70%, expression and lyrics 77%, I'm going to give this album an okay. Like I said, it's not overtly terrible, but because a lot of these elements make you feel like, I don't know if I'm really getting this entirely, I can only really recommend it that much. But let me know what you thought, if you found songs on there that you did enjoy, or if you thought, yeah, I think that this sounded like it came out over a decade ago. I want to know if people think that as well. That's not saying it's a bad thing. I'm trying to re-emphasize that. But it's noticeable. That's the point. It is noticeable, and I'm trying to understand why it feels that way and if it's purposeful. If so, that's fine. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching. And remember, if you want to discover, promote, and review the best in entertainment, remember to comment, like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff down below so you can get that yes in your life. See you next time.